but it's ready when it's ready.
Now, you do a lot of self-promoting of this book, and I believe in self-promoting. How would you advise authors out there? And a lot of us are, publishing our own books and things of that nature. How would you advise authors to have a campaign, a book campaign? I mean, just some basics. I mean, you're an advertising professional, and you've done a lot of work over the years. How would you advise them? What were you doing?
Well, I took a workshop at Grub Street, given by this lady who later became successful, Lisa Genova.
Okay.
She just recently went mainstream.
I thought you took it with Pagan Kennedy also.
That was a different one.
Okay.
But this first one I took was before I had the book completed, and I was amazed at how she had treated marketing her book as though it were an advertising campaign. And up until then, I hadn't really thought.
Was she an advertising person? Or?
No. But she had been that methodical. She had the website in place. She had the pieces that she would send out to the different publicity arms. She had just different elements designed. They all looked, like they're part of a brand. And she didn't do it to the extent that I've done it, but I saw what I was supposed to do in what she had done, and so. The way I've approached it is I've looked at every avenue that's what I would call a low-cost avenue. I mean, business cards. I print out business cards, but I try to do them a little more interestingly.
Right, they are.
I've done these cards that have a review on the inside, some comments from readers, as well as, so it's a little business card that, you've seen that, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're always handing them. Which is good.
But so all I've tried to do is take the avenues that are, let's say, relatively inexpensive, and try to do it at a high level, a level that people don't expect from somebody that's doing things themselves. And I've had them designed by professionals. But I have a lot of materials that I have those bookmarks, and you might say those are expensive. They were $1,000 for $750, but. There's something about them that's special, at least in my mind.
Yeah, they absolutely look, they attract attention.
So the one sentence or statement I would make is that if you act as though the book is important in everything that you do, it will seem important.
All perception. You create the...
Right, exactly.
Well, you also have to have a decent book, I think.
well, exactly, but it's the same thing that I did with the book that I do to my materials. Yeah. It's treated with importance. I spend money on an illustrator and a designer.
But if you're of limited funds, you just do what you can, I imagine, right?
Well, right, but I would. There are people. You must know people that have some sense of design. If you don't have it yourself, so I wouldn't go off and do it myself.
Our friend Steve Glines.
Yeah, that's right, Steve Glines, excellent fellow to use in those circumstances.
Absolutely. Now, you're a highly regarded advertising executive in Boston. Now you're a director of W.B. Mason.
Advertising,
W.B. Mason. For years now. In the book, you take a rather dim look at the biz. There's a segment there in the book about a bunch of phony balonies and posturing ne'er-do-wells.
Right.
What do you really think about the business? I mean,
I think that the world would be a much better place without advertising. I think that
you wouldn't want to eliminate your own job. Huh?
Well, I've always thought of it this way: that there is going to be advertising, and it's a fun business.
Right.
So. I think of myself as being a positive influence, and so it's good to have some good people in a profession like that. And the work that I do, I'm quite fortunate in that the work has evolved to where most of what I do for W.B. Mason is just fun stuff that people enjoy seeing. The TV commercials, the materials I do.
Well, you're in your situation now you're very happy with, but when you were coming up the ladder and all that, you saw a lot of things that you were in the advertising business that were...
No, not really.
I mean, because in the book, it's not a flattering portrait. So
right. Well, but
that's for the purposes of the book, I guess, right?
No. I think there's ultimately something very shallow about a business where art is so second in service to commerce, and so there's always a little bit of space between the art layered over the commerce, and that's.
But didn't Andy Warhol change that a bit? I mean, art.
He took commerce into art.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
Art didn't suffer.
Right,
Commerce
right, right,
was
yeah.
brought in to serve art.
Right.
So that's a different.
But I mean, it's viewed more artistically now, I think, or it's evolved over the years.
Well, I think advertising doesn't, in many cases is very hollow.
Yeah.
And in the story, I have the protagonist talking about billboards. And nobody ever seems to question the right of billboards to stick themselves into the middle of your day. A TV station or network, you basically have that going in. There's going to be advertising, but you have no choice about driving down streets or highways. You've got to get to places.
Right.
And so I've always thought that that's an area for discussion. That our billboards really do they have a right to somehow insert themselves into people's lives?
Right. Okay.
But I love doing billboards. They're a lot of fun to do.
Now, you've written on the North Shore, when you were living on the North Shore. South Shore. You wrote a number of columns, and in fact, you're going to come out with a book of your columns, you were telling me? That's in the process?
Yes.
What were your columns about? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they were written in so many different voices with so many different subjects. Some are pure fiction pieces. There's a piece called "The Candle for Adversity," where it's almost kind of a little prayer for adversity, almost a celebration of what adversity brings to our lives, even though it certainly sounds like it's a negative. But it's a really interesting mixture of I think serious and comic things that I've probably at one time or another found of interest or was important to me at the time. And I noticed the pieces that I wrote when I was going through my divorce are very heavy. It's all, if I was a songwriter, they'd be all broken-hearted love songs. But I think there's a fair amount of art in there. And the book, which is called How to Train a Rock, not Iraq.
Well, there used to be the trend for pet rocks.
There was.
Some may remember.
Right. This is wholly unrelated to that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I guess in spirit, not. I guess there's a connection there for sure. And there's a series of 3 columns that I did about training rocks, so that's where I took the title. It's interesting trying to put such a diverse collection together. And it also features an excerpt from, or so it seems.
All right. Now, I got 2 minutes to ask you one question, and we're going to go into your 10-minute reading. But I was going to say, how much is Paul Peterson like you?
I think there's a fair amount. And I'm always laughing when they talk to me about the book, they always talk about me rather than Paul Peterson.
Somehow I could see it being you.
Right. Well,
I mean, I don't mean that unflattering.
No, I understand.
You're very human, and
someone say to me, that scene where your son, you and your son are in, Faneuil Hall or whatever. So
do you ever have that race car derby? Was that true with your son?
The Pinewood Derby in this book is one derby. It's probably 3 derbies compressed into that one.
But you did do that with your son.
Yes, and it was a terrible experience. Those events should not be allowed, folks. I think you should go to your phone right now and call the Cub Scouts and tell them no more Pinewood Derbies.